Let's talk. I'm Will Peeler, and this is another segment of Tailgate Talks, where we sit on tailgate and, well, we talk. And I'm joined today by Rodney Fowler. Rodney is a lender in our Statesboro, Georgia location. And Rodney, we're here mainly today to talk about operating lines of credit. Tell me a little bit about what an operating line of credit is and how it works.
Well, it's typically a one-year line of credit, which works kind of like a credit card, so to speak. As they have input costs, they draw it out. And then when they sell their crop, they pay it back. So usually it's a 1-year loan with annual maturity.
So that's different than a home loan or a car loan where you're making monthly payments. You don't necessarily make monthly payments, or
That's
do you?
Right. Now, there are some situations where you may have a diverse operation where you have, say, semi-annual payments or quarterly payments. I mean, anything, we're very flexible. And whatever meets the customer's cash flow, we can match that.
So if I'm only paid one time a year when I harvest, you can line up the maturity date of that when all the money comes due to match that harvest time?
No interest payments due, nothing until harvest, and you pay us at that time.
What are some typical things that people use operating lines of credit to fund?
Well, anything. It could be for a cattle operation, a poultry operation, but here today we're on a row crop operation. So all the inputs involved with growing that crop. And, hopefully, the customer will do a budget and see what it takes, and then he can, apply for that amount that he feels like he needs. And so, inputs and fuel, fertilizer, seed, the whole game.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You keep using the word inputs. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
The things it takes to make the crop grow.
Absolutely. Usually, as we bankers call the input cost, variable cost of their operation.
How do you and the borrower figure out the amount needed and the amount of the loan to result?
In the beginning of every season, we sit down and do an interview as they apply for their operating loan. And, what's so important is that farmers do a budget. How much is it going to cost to make this crop? If you don't do that, you're just driving blind. So if they say, okay, I'm going to need $1 million, they may not necessarily request $1 million from us, but they may say, $750, and then they can use, open accounts they have at dealer supply stores and whatnot to get through. Or they may have cash or liquidity to put it in themselves into the crop.
What is typically used as collateral for an operating line of credit?
Well, first of all, it's the crop itself.
Okay.
And we take a lien on the crop, and we also take an assignment of crop insurance. So that's the value of the crop insurance is how we say, okay, this is what we think this crop is worth, at least this much. So that is the first thing. And of course, you can also, anything, tractors, equipment, real estate, all combined can go toward the collateral for a loan.
Okay. So Rodney, what are some best practices for actually managing a line of credit? Is there a way to do something wrong with it potentially?
Well, yeah, if you use it for the wrong purpose.
Okay.
I mean, say, for example, you get a line of credit to grow cotton and peanuts, and you decide you want to buy a bunch of cows. Well, that messes up your budget over here. So the rule of thumb is whatever you budget for to begin the year, you stay within that budget. And if you get off track, you're spending more than you expected, talk to your lender. You can always say, okay, we're going to make sure you get through this crop. But the rule of thumb is just make a budget, stick to it. Don't use it for purposes that you didn't, intend to originally.
Well, what if I needed to buy a tractor or a piece of machinery? Should I use the line of credit for that?
Not unless it's designed for it, which usually not so much. To come talk to your lender and request a different loan action would be the best move there.
So, Rodney, if I was a customer coming in to see you to sit down to talk about a line of credit, what would I need to have? What would I need to bring?
Well, if you were a current borrower who is paying off your last year's line of credit and applying for a new one, you'd want to bring in your updated financial statements. You want to bring in kind of a profit and loss from the previous crop, not necessarily the calendar year, but the crop itself, maybe all the income you've had. And that's a good starting point. Crop insurance information, anything that, and of course, a budget of what it's going to take to make that crop moving forward for that year.
Rodney, let's say that we set up a line of credit and the maturity date on that is, say, March the 1st, but I come in February and I sell my crop early and because of prices and I cash out in February, is there a penalty for going ahead and paying that line of credit off early?
Absolutely not. No, it's expected that as you sell your crop, you come pay it towards your operating loan. So there's no prepayment penalty. We expect you to pay it. We actually try to set the maturity to allow you plenty of time to market your crops the way you see fit. And that's something else that's in the discussion. Maybe you may need more than 12 months, but we want to make sure you sell your crops when you're comfortable doing so and come and pay it towards your line of credit.
If there was somebody watching this today that may be considering getting a line of credit for the first time, or, they're getting into farming and trying to figure out what products match their operation best, what advice would you give to somebody who was starting out about when it's right to get a line of credit?
Well, just review your operation, put it on paper, analyze it. And you talk to where you plan to buy your inputs and see what kind of line of credits they get. And then talk to a crop insurance agent, see what kind of crop insurance you can get, what it's worth. And then come talk to us. And, and you can offer the crop itself for collateral. You don't necessarily have to have real estate or a bunch of equipment to offer as collateral starting off. So, and we can work with and try to find a way if we can help you. I just think it's vital to talk to a lender you trust, and hopefully we're that person.
So you keep talking about trust and all. I mean, it sounds like the relationship and the communication between a borrower and lender such as yourself is one of the most important parts of the whole deal.
No, I think it's vital. I mean, if you can't have a good, honest relationship with the lender and the farmer. I'm a farmer's son. I love agriculture. I want to help them out as much as I possibly can. So I just think it's so important to be open and honest and stay on the right track.
So what if the news I have to share is not the best in the world and it's going to maybe negatively affect our relationship or the loan itself? Is it better for me just to wait, or should I go ahead and let you know that as soon as I know?
I think that's when honesty is the most important.
Okay.
To come and lay it out there and let your lender, especially if and hopefully I try to have that relationship with my borrowers where they think I need to go talk to Rodney. What would he do? What is his advice? And hopefully I've earned their trust and their respect that I'm not going to say, well, that's horrible. I don't want to deal with you anymore. We'll work something out.
So there's flexibility there that even if something went wrong or didn't go, you've talked a lot about budgeting and setting up a plan. If things don't go as planned, there are ways to remedy that.
There's always a way. That's what I say. There's an option. It could be worse. As long as there's options out there, then it could be worse. So we'll find a way if there is a way.
Rodney, I appreciate you stopping by the tailgate here, and we'll let you get back to work in this beautiful day. We've got cotton behind us. We're going to see a lot of our farmers start the picking process of all this cotton down here in your region. But appreciate you stopping by and sharing good information.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Thank you.